Hey kids, welcome to the second week of Champions of Faith. You might remember last week I said that throughout this term we're going to be looking at people in the Bible who stepped out in faith, and we're also going to be hearing some stories from some of our own in Hope Community about when they put faith into action. So I'm going to kick us off this week with one of my favourite Bible stories of all time. And I say favourite because it's probably one of the earliest memories of learning a story in the Bible. Okay, I was a little kid, probably around your age, and I was in Sunday school. And this story is about three Hebrew men, and their names are Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You may have heard of them before or read this story. Anyway, to paint a little picture first, King Nebuchadnezzar, he builds this really big gold statue. And when I say big, it's some Bibles say that this gold statue could have been anywhere up to 90 feet high. Okay, 90 feet, guys, is massive. I'm like, what am I, 6'8" or something like that? No, I'm not. I'm actually a lot smaller than that. But anyway, 90 feet is massive. It's like probably 15 times my height. So we're talking big, and up to 9 feet wide. And King Nebuchadnezzar, he builds a statue because he wants all of the people across the Babylon province to bow down and worship this gold statue as their god. So the king, he puts out this order, right? And people are doing it, except three men. Three men were found out that they weren't actually bowing down and worshipping this idol. And, you guessed it, their names were Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So this made King Nebuchadnezzar furious, okay? I don't know, but I think if you make a king angry, it's not good. And when we look at this story in the Bible, yep, 100%. So King Nebuchadnezzar finds out about these men and he orders them to come in. So these soldiers, they grab Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and bring him in. And the King Nebuchadnezzar, he starts questioning them, why aren't you bowing down? And they keep refusing to do so. So King, he gives them one more chance, one last chance to bow down and worship this gold statue. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they refuse to. So the king is so angry, and he actually says in this book that anybody who refuses to bow down to this statue, they'll just get thrown into a burning furnace and die. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they actually say that they refuse to do so, and they've got all full faith in their hearts that the God that they worship, he will save them from the burning furnace. So we're actually going to pick up this story now in the Bible and read the end bit, okay? How about, I know Pastor Dan loves Pause the Pastor, so I'm going to give you guys the opportunity now to pause the kids leader, okay? Pause me, go grab your Bible, go grab the kids' Bible app, and turn it to the book of Daniel chapter 3, and we're going to pick this up together. So, Daniel chapter 3, let's go down to verse 19. King Nebuchadnezzar was so furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that his face became distorted with rage. He commanded that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than normal. Okay, he was pretty angry. Then he ordered some of the strongest men in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego with ropes and throw them into the blazing furnace. So they tied them up, okay, and do you know what happened? Because the furnace was so hot, the soldiers that went to throw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the furnace, they actually got burnt and perished in the flames. It was so hot. So down in verse 23 now, so Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, securely tied, fell into the roaring flames. Verse 24, but suddenly Nebuchadnezzar jumped up in amazement and exclaimed, "Didn't we tie up 3 men and throw them into the furnace?" "Yes, your majesty, we did," they said. "Look," Nebuchadnezzar shouted, "I see 4 men, unbound, walking around in the fire, unharmed, and the 4th one looks like a god." Then Nebuchadnezzar came as close as he could to the door of the fiery furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stepped out of the fire. Then the high officers and advisors crowded around them and saw that the fire had not touched them. Not a hair on their heads was singed, and their clothing was not scorched. They didn't even smell like smoke. In verse 28, then King Nebuchadnezzar said, "Praise to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He sent his angel to rescue his servants who trusted in him. They defied the king's command and were willing to die rather than serve or worship any other god except theirs. Therefore," in verse 29, "I make this decree: if any people speak a word against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they will be torn limb from limb, and their houses will be turned into heaps of rubble. There is no other God who can rescue like this." So how cool is that, guys? What a story of faith. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they knew well before they got thrown into the furnace that their God would save them. So now I just wanted to quickly share a story of my own. And yeah, gee, it's not like that, okay? I didn't get thrown into a burning fire. But I've been a Christian for a very long time now. And it was only up until 2 years ago that I actually really started using my faith. And I was sitting in Big Church one day listening to a sermon from Pastor Dan, and it was all about boldness. And I made a commitment that day down the front. I went down and got some prayer, and my commitment to God was that from this day, I want to step out in faith. I want to be bold with my faith. I want to do new things for you, God. And 2 months later, I was actually asked by Pastor Dan if I wanted to share my testimony, which is a story about my life and how I came to know God, in front of potentially thousands of people at the Burpengary Christmas Spectacular. Now, I'd never done this before. I'd shared my testimony when I got baptised, and that was probably in front of maybe 100, 200 people. I'd never spoken about my faith in God in front of so many people before. So, was I scared? Heck yeah. Did I think twice? Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I went ahead and I did it. And yeah, it was scary, but gee, I felt so good afterwards. I felt so good that I stepped out in faith, and that all these people that I didn't know, all these people in my community, they knew that I loved God, that I followed him, that I believed in Jesus, that he died on the cross, and I felt so good. So guys, I really want to encourage you to use your faith. You got so much faith, guys. Use it at kindy, at school, guys, wherever you are. Use your faith and tell more people about God. He'll really bless you for it.